Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Knoxville. These are the pregame press conferences for the second round matchup between Tennessee and Toledo. We ask that any members of the media please state your name and affiliation before your first question. We start with Toledo student athletes. It's Kara Goss, Sammy McConowitz, and Nan Garcia. And we open it up to questions at this time.
Kyle Rowland, Toledo Blade. Just for each of you, could you give like a word to describe Q and just what your first impressions were when you got to Toledo and met her?
Grit. I think I'm going to say crazy, but in a good way.
I'm going to say phenomenal. Yeah, she was just always been such an uplifting person, very high energy, always fun person to be around.
Hey, Dave Briggs with the Blade. When you guys were growing up, when someone says Tennessee women's basketball, what kind of came to mind?
You go first. Pat Summit. And SEC basketball, always competitive program, very skilled, talented, big, all of the above.
Yeah, I'd have to second her. The only difference with me is that I have to admit I wasn't very into basketball when I was younger. I didn't follow a lot of women's basketball until I got to the later high school, college level. But I would have to say all those things.
Third them, Pat Summit, Candace Parker, all these amazing names coming out of here. Great program, stars coming out of here.
Shifting to the game itself, I mean, obviously you guys, it was clear the mindset you guys had come in here. You're expecting to be in this position to play Tennessee on Monday. How beneficial of it for you guys was it to have that, have that game under your belt and go into, Tennessee having played on their court already once?
I feel like it gives us that experience. We were there a little bit early. We saw what their crowd's like. That's not new to us. We have a great fan base back at Toledo. So it definitely was nice to get on that court, get the experience we need, and just prepare us for what's ahead.
Maria Cornelius, 247 Sports, Tennessee. For all three players, I mean, you mentioned Pat Summit, of course, but your coach is very well known. I mean, she has credentials that are impeccable. If you could just talk about your coach and what she means to basketball.
We feel she means a lot. She's just an amazing person on and off the court. She's very smart when it comes to just running basketball plays, defense-wise. Definitely somebody I look up to, always there for me. Me personally, she's helped me on my shot tremendously. And the fact that she took the time out of her day as a head coach to work with me over the summer, just time and time again, is huge to me. So she means a lot to me.
I'd have to second everything she said. Same with the shot thing. She's helped me become a better shooter coming out of high school. Like, I wasn't looking to shoot a lot. And that's obviously changed a lot. And then she cares about us past basketball. She's always harping on us to get our academics and make sure we stay up on that. And that's just because she cares about life after basketball, and that just means a lot.
Coach Cullif, one of a kind. I couldn't thank her enough for giving me the opportunity to be here, obviously as a transfer. Just an amazing human being outside of basketball. Somebody I'm always going to look up to, and she's a role model to us.
Tennessee's got a decided size advantage. How do you counter that? Is it with your ability to get up and down the court as fast as you do? And how much can that help you along with your shooting ability?
I think the most important thing is we just have to play Toledo basketball. No matter what team we play, we have to play the style that we know how to play. Size advantage, anything, Toledo basketball is what we need to stick to.
And then on top of that, I feel like just playing with grit and playing with heart. If you just play your heart out, I mean, you can beat anyone you want to beat. So if we just play tough and, like she said, play Toledo basketball, I think we have a chance.
Yeah, and then to counter off that as well, doing the little things is going to be huge in this game because, like you said, we don't have the size advantage. But doing little things like boxing out, going to get the loose balls, that's all going to matter in this game.
I know as a team you visited the Pat Summit statue yesterday. Do you think Coach Cullip should have a statue on the UT campus now?
Oh, for sure.
Hey, I think when she retires, I think she'll get it. She deserves it.
Get
She
something.
does. Yeah.
She'll get something.
Yeah.
But she ain't retiring anytime soon, let me tell you.
But seriously, you saw a little bit of the Tennessee game in person yesterday. Just your impressions of the Lady Vols, and obviously you guys said all along you weren't happy just to get here. You wanted to win games. How do you continue that mindset with this next challenge?
I just think we need to keep the momentum that we have. Like I said, play our game of basketball and play those 40 minutes the best to our ability and see what happens.
Yeah, and I'd say and just staying together as a team. They might go on a few runs, but we can counter that with a few runs of ourselves. Just being able to lock down and get those stops and just make some plays out of it.
Yeah, and just continue to stay focused and remember what got us here in the first place.
Maria Cornelius again. This Knoxville has become the place for the second year in a row where the 5 seed comes to die, essentially. Y'all went into that game, absolutely fearless, going up against a higher seed and a team that had gotten a lot of attention because of their ability to score. Do you replicate that? And this is for all 3 players. Do you just replicate that tomorrow? Same mindset, same realization that the number by your seed it doesn't matter?
Yeah, kind of like what Nan was saying. We just got to make sure we play Toledo basketball. It's what it comes down to. All that other stuff, that's all fine and games. But we need to make sure that we stay in our identity and we know what we can do.
Yeah, I feel like that number next to our name is just a number. And we're out here to prove that we're better than that.
Yeah, like they said, it's just a number. What we truly represent is what is on our jersey, and that's what we're playing for.
Just for all of you, I know you guys don't want to make this bigger than it is, but chance to go to the first Sweet 16 in Toledo history, playing in the home of women's basketball at Tennessee. I mean, is this kind of the stuff, the opportunities you dream of? How do you kind of sum up what this opportunity is, just like as a kid, just growing? I mean, this has got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this is an experience you dream of as a kid, and I think we're all taking it in. I think we're all enjoying the moment. Not just are we here to play basketball, but we're here to live these experiences, and I think that's very important. And the most important thing is we're doing it with our family, like our teammates. So.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience. It's definitely one you don't expect too often. We're very fortunate to be where we are, but we've also earned it. So I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it'll hit me more when we're finally reach the end of the season, and you can stop and look back at everything you've accomplished. But right now, we're just worried about focusing on one game at a time.
Yeah, and kind of like they were saying, this is something that I've dreamed of since I was a little girl. Growing up in a basketball family, this is something that I've been surrounded by. So the fact that it's our turn to be able to experience it and really live it out is something that I can't even put into words.
I'll direct this for Kirk here. Obviously, you guys are playing your best when multiple people are scoring the basketball. So, obviously, yesterday, 10 points in the first 5 minutes kind of gave you guys that spark. How beneficial, and is it a focus for you guys to get as many people involved early in the game as possible?
It's huge. It's really huge because we bring out so many weapons just from our starting 5, from peeping off the bench. It's really about you can't just stop one. You have to be able to be worried and focus about everyone on the floor. So it's just so key in our team altogether.
For all 3 players again, and especially Sammy, since you said you came kind of late to basketball, I saw you also went to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Did you get the full experience and maybe even surprised at the depth of this game and its history when you made that visit?
For sure. I mean, it opened my eyes to a lot of things. I actually wish we had a little more time there, or just like a free day where I could kind of take my time to read more in depth of everything, because I definitely didn't get a chance to read everything. And there was so much information that I just didn't soak it all in. But it was definitely incredible to see where it was and where we've come.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate the game that we play and just the impact that how many people had before we even thought of playing basketball and how much they did for us as women's basketball players.
Yeah, just like they said, it was a super cool experience, and it does make you appreciate the game so much more. You get to see how much it's developed and how we could keep developing it to this day.
Therese Walker, the Associated Press. For either or all 3 of you, is a little bit out of the box question. Do you prefer low tops or high tops? And because we're seeing on the colleague on the men's side is seeing a lot of low tops. And, you know, I remember when everybody was just going with the high tops to protect your ankles. What's your preference, and have you made a change during your college career for a particular reason?
Nana, this would be your question.
Yeah, so this year I went with the low tops. Been rocking the same shoe all year, just different colors. Personally, I like the low tops this year. I think they're crazy comfortable, and you know, the ankle support I feel could go both ways.
I'd also agree. I like the low tops. I've been using those ever since I got to actually high school in Toledo, and they just seem to be the most comfortable for me.
Yeah, I like low tops, but I'm definitely an ankle brace girl, so I have
Yes.
to be braced up.
Sammy, this is for you. Obviously, yesterday, you know, you were primary defender on Ashley Jones and did a pretty good job on her. The challenge, obviously, against Tennessee is obviously not going to get any easier. Just how prideful are you kind of having that role of primary defender and kind of feeding the energy off of for everyone else being that defender that you are?
I mean, it's still a team thing. I was on her, but we were all in the gaps helping. I know Nan helped me with a few doubles. People were digging in, getting tips on it. So it's definitely a team thing, but I just feel like defense leads to offense. So if you work hard on defense, then it's going to lead to your offense. And if, like yesterday wasn't a huge scoring night for me, but it was opening up for the rest of the team. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So.
Any other questions?
Complete the circuit here, Fernan. You mentioned obviously coming over as a transfer, the experience that you brought over from Penn State, and they mentioned obviously you guys playing a hostile crowd at Savage. Kind of getting a feel of what it's going to be like seeing the Tennessee game yesterday. Just kind of what are your expectations for what the atmosphere is going to be like tomorrow, and how you guys kind of plan to prepare to adapt to that?
I mean, I think we know the atmospheres are going to be loud. I mean, they have an amazing attendance, so we just got to be prepared, listen, echo each other, and I think we'll be just fine.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, welcome back to Knoxville pregame press conference for the second round matchup between Tennessee and Toledo. We're joined by Coach Tricia Cullip here of Toledo. Coach, if you don't mind, start us off with your thoughts about a round 2 matchup in Knoxville against the Tennessee Lady Volunteers.
Well, it's a great opportunity. We're thrilled to be here, but we're not just happy to be here. This team has been focused for a long time on not only getting into the tournament, but seeing how far we could go. And it's a formidable opponent, unbelievable atmosphere that we're going to be playing in. So much respect for this program, but we're not just here to be here. So we're looking forward to the challenge. We're going to give it our best shot and, see what happens.
Questions?
Coach, Teresa Walker with the Associated Press. I know you're focused on your team, but a year ago, a 12 seed played the number 5 seed Lady Vols and came up just 3 points short. Is that something that you think about maybe mentioning, that that you can be within shooting, be within striking distance, or is that you just, as you mentioned, you focus on your team and the fact that they have their own goals for this season?
Well, I don't think we can look at last year and really rely on that. I mean, every team's different a year from now. I think we have to look at, Kelly's done a fantastic job with her team, and we want to respect them. I think the biggest things for us are we've got to find a way to get some rebounds. They're big. They're athletic. We've got to take care of the basketball because they're going to be disruptive with their length. They're great shot blockers. And then, I think we've also got to find a way to protect the paint because they've got more size than we do inside. If we can be effective in those 3 areas, then I think we could make it interesting. But this team has got to continue to share the basketball the way that we have and play unselfish basketball. If we do that, and we hit some outside shots, life could be good. If we're relying on block shots, down in that could be interesting for them. And so we're going to have to hit some outside shots. But I really like the mentality of our team right now. Like I said, much respect, but we're looking forward to this opportunity.
Tyler Segerman, W2L 11 TV. You mentioned the atmosphere of what's going to be like tomorrow. You got a glimpse of that on Sunday, or Saturday rather. How do you approach the factor of crowd noise being a factor in this game as opposed to the first round?
Well, our attendance is not the same as the Lady Vols by any stretch, but I will say it's beneficial that we've played in really loud environments for most of the season. I think for those that don't know, we're top 30 in the country in attendance at Toledo, 10 out of the last 11 seasons, so we're used to crowd noise. We actually don't play as well when we play in quiet environments, probably because they can hear me. But I think that our players enjoy a loud environment. They enjoy an environment where people care about women's basketball. That's here. And so I don't think, will we have to talk a little louder on defense? Yes. Will we have to make sure that we're all on the same page about what we're running offensively? Yes. But I don't see it being as big a factor because our kids are used to it and they appreciate it.
Tricia, Dave Briggs with the Blade. For a generation of women's basketball fans, it's obviously Tennessee and UConn, and Tennessee came first. When you just, over these years, when you think about Tennessee women's basketball, what kind of comes to mind?
Well, number one, respect. That's why we took our players up on the hill to take a picture with the statue. That's why, we took them to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. That's why 2 or 3 days before we came down here, I showed them some videos on Pat because I have so much respect for not only the current program, but the history and everything that Pat Summitt did for women's basketball. I grew up in a time where I got to sit beside her in a recruiting trail. And I came down here as an assistant when I was at Xavier to watch individual workouts because I wanted to learn from her. I think that it's pretty cool for now my players to see this, even though they don't have all that background. That's why we tried to educate them a little bit before we came down here. Now they do. I think after leaving the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, they have a full appreciation of what's happened with this program and what an amazing historical value that it presents for women's basketball in general. But it's just a great opportunity for us. I'll be honest, of all the sites we were sent to, this is a really cool place to be sent because of that historical value. But let's not let it be lost on, Coach Harper's doing a fantastic job too. And I can't imagine the pressure of following, not only Pat, but Holly, what a great job she did. That would be tough, trying to fill shoes of some people that have done some very amazing things in the history of women's basketball, not just Tennessee. But I think Kelly's done a fantastic job.
Maria Cornelius, 247 Sports, Tennessee. Speaking of the statue, I saw Abby Conklin's post. And how cool is that? I mean, both with your Indiana ties and then seeing each other again here.
Well, ironically, we were getting ready to get on a bus, and I looked over and saw Abby standing there, and I said, Abby, what you all don't know is when Abby visited Purdue, I was her host. And so I said to our kids, I said, boy, I was a bad recruiter that day. But it was really cool to catch up with her and walk up on the hill. And I had her share some stories about Pat Summit with our team so that they could fully appreciate just how intense she was, how competitive she was. And Abby graciously did so. But it was pretty cool to see her. And then, as we were leaving the gym yesterday to catch up with Michelle Marciniak. I've known Michelle for a long time as well. Like I said, so many great players. I mean, just look in the rafters in there, and it's who's who of women's basketball. But it was really cool to run into Abby. What a great career she had.
Q was under-recruited, I would say, in high school.
Understatement.
Yeah. You guys clearly had belief. Like, until she signed, were you guys extremely nervous that a Power 5 school would swoop in and scoop her up?
Well, at the time we were talking to her, there were no Power 5s in the discussion. Creighton was sitting at the court that we initially went to watch her play for the first time. And, the nice thing about recruiting Nebraska is that, at the time, Omaha wasn't Division I. I believe they were getting ready to transition. So you had University of Nebraska and you had Creighton, and neither one were showing full-fledged interest. Creighton was showing up the games, but they hadn't offered. I just kept praying they weren't going to offer because that was a hometown easy. I mean, we're talking her high school must be 5 minutes from their gym. So I was nervous about that. And then I was also nervous about a couple of Missouri Valley schools that were nearby, but no one was laying an offer out except for Omaha. And so we were thrilled that she said yes, and number two, that she wanted to go away from home. She is a blessing to our program, not only on the court, but as a person, as a leader. I can't tell you how much I enjoy coaching her. And she's special. You don't see not only a player of her athleticism and of her talent, but as her demeanor and her just being an amazing teammate. She does so much for our program on and off the court, and I'm glad she's not done.
Tricia, just one more trip down memory lane. What's your favorite Pat Summit story? And you mentioned being so grateful to absorb that knowledge. What was your relationship like with her?
Well, what I'll say is this. She and my college coach, Lynn Dunn, were very good friends. And so, we heard stories a little bit through Coach Dunn. But I remember sitting beside her in the stands one time recruiting. And, you're sitting close enough. We all have got rental car keys sitting on the bleachers. And as we were leaving, I went out and I chit-chatted with her a little bit because I was watching a team that was playing a Tennessee club team. And so I thought she might be there. I knew she was recruiting someone from that team. And as we got ready to leave, I walked out to the parking lot and I hit, the beeper on my car because I didn't know which one. You kind of forget sometimes when you got a different rental car every day what I was driving. And when I hit it, a Beamer lit up, and I'm like, that's not my car keys. So I ran back in. I'm like, I think I've got your car keys. I don't think she would have been too pleased when she saw what I was driving. But she laughed, and we had a good laugh about that. But I will just say this. What an amazing person, very giving. When I drove down from Xavier University to watch individual workouts, she sat down beside me afterwards. Matthew was her Dobo, I think, at that time, Matthew Mitchell. She couldn't have been more giving of her time. And that's one thing that I think I took from her is just to be very willing to help others as you're going through this process because, that meant a lot to me. And I know that it means a lot to high school coaches that stop by our gyms, to be gracious and kind and helpful when you can be. But I can't imagine how many people she helped through the years beyond me of helping to grow the game because she cared. And she didn't have to open her doors to us, but she did it out of kindness and willingness to keep moving things forward in our game.
Tricia, I think you guys are 58-10 the last two seasons, and now you've got 2 top 20 wins. Even against Tennessee in this arena, I mean, do you feel like your team has just like the utmost confidence and belief in themselves?
I think after that many wins, you do have confidence. I think it's a guarded confidence. It's not overconfident by any means. It's a touchy word because when you say that, people think, oh, you think you can't do wrong, but we do. I think the biggest thing is we're confident and disciplined, and that's what we need to continue to be. We don't try to be somebody we're not. We don't have. Quenisha, I think people could say sometimes is flashy about what she's able to do, but most of it is built on what we call blue-collar gold standard. Our kids are willing to do all the dirty work. They're willing to box out. They're willing to dive on loose balls. They're willing to box out people who are bigger than them. And it's not always the fun glitz and glamour, but they're willing to do it because they know that their role helps us win. And, I think they're confident in that if they continue to do what they do, we have a chance. We always have a chance. And so that's what our message to our kids is continue to do what we did to get here. Don't try to be something we're not. And, let's give it our best shot. It took so much effort to get here. As a mid-major, you have to be darn near perfect to get into the tournament. I mean, look, we're talking 17 straight wins just to be standing here. The plight of the mid-major to get in an NCAA tournament is unreal. There are teams left home today. Columbia comes to mind. There's a couple in our league. BG and Ball State. I think they could be in this tournament. But you have to win your conference tournament or you're deemed not worthy. And that's unfortunate. I also hope that we start looking at RPI maybe again instead of net. And I'm going to get on that platform just for a second. The net rewards teams that play bad teams and beat them by 40, where the RPI is not built that way. The RPI rewards you for playing a tough schedule. The net rewards you for, unsportsmanship by leaving your starters in to blow teams out. I was built on if you win, you win, and develop your team and substitute and develop those younger players. We were always taught, play the toughest schedule you can, get as many wins as you can, earn your opportunity. And I think the net's teaching people to play easier schedules and beat them by a lot so that your net score can jump up. And we can show numerous examples of that in the net. But it's tough, and it's tough to play. It's tough to be a mid-major and have quad ones tell you no, that they don't want to schedule you. That's why we're so grateful when Kara Lawson said yes. And a few years back when Muffet McGraw said, yes, we'll play you. Those calls don't come in very often. That's why when Kara said it in about 0.2 seconds, we said yes. We don't get those opportunities. And so people say, well, prove yourself. It's hard to prove yourself when people tell us, no, we won't play you. So I'm so happy we're here. I'm sad that a few other teams we've coached through the years that got to 29 wins weren't sitting here too. And for them, we're playing hard for them too.
Maria.
Coach, a question about tomorrow's game. Jordan Horston and Rakia Jackson obviously present a tremendous challenge. When you watch them on film, what kind of challenges do you see for your team?
Well, defensively, they're disruptive. Length, athleticism, quickness, ability to cover a radius with their length and wingspan, but also ability to score in a variety of ways. I think it's important that we try to keep them in front of us. We can't be undisciplined defensively with our footwork, but they're a challenge. That's a great way to say it. It will be a challenge, but I also think their ability to get to the boards. You're going to see our kids have to be willing to sacrifice their bodies to make sure they're not getting to the boards. Watching film, both of them. And I will say this, located where we are, we're very familiar with them. We watched them grow up. You're talking about a kid from Michigan and a kid from Ohio. We know who they are. And obviously, Walker's from Western Michigan. We played against her back in the day. So and even Powell is from Michigan. We watched all these kids grow up. And so it's not a surprise. But our kids are looking forward to the challenge. Do we think it'll be easy? Absolutely not. We're going to have to work our tails off. But I do think you can't do it with one person. It's going to have to be our whole team playing team defense. If we went out and played one-on-one, they'd win every time. But the good thing is we get to play 5-on-5.
Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to Knoxville for the pregame press conferences for the second round matchup between Tennessee and Toledo. We're joined by Tennessee student athletes Tess Darby, Rakia Jackson, and Jordan Walker. Once again, we ask that you please state your name and affiliation before your first question. And we'll go ahead and open it up to questions for our student athletes.
For Tess and Jordan, a year ago you were at the same stage and playing a 12 seed, and it was a tight game. You know, you win by 3. Do you tap into that memory about how seedings truly don't matter at this point when a Sweet 16 bid is on the line?
Definitely. You know, everybody wants to get to the Sweet 16. Everybody wants to continue their season on. So knowing that, I mean, you know, you got to come on and play hard. Last year with Belmont, like you said, that was a really close game, and it tested us a lot. But it's going to be the same story. You know, you got to come out and you have to play from the beginning and play hard.
Yeah, I just think going off what JoJo said, respect and all, fear none is kind of the mentality we have. But I feel like everything that the coaches have put us through with our preseason schedule, I feel like we've seen and we're prepared for anything. But so just coming out tomorrow and playing our game.
Rakia. You're here? Oh, hi. Frank DeLuca, WBIR. What was it like to play your first NCAA tournament game?
Yeah, it was fun being able to play on the biggest stage in college women's basketball, especially doing it with my teammates. We definitely made it fun. You know, we didn't struggle in the first quarter, but, you know, it was kind of close in the first quarter, but I feel like we just pulled away, doing the little things and keeping our intensity high. So it was very fun playing with this team in the tournament.
Coral Hall, the Knox News Sentinel. This is for Rakia and Jordan. Obviously, you both are from Michigan. Jazz is from Michigan, and then you've got a couple Michigan players on the other team, including Sophia from Muskegon as well. How fun is it to have that representation from Michigan and the NCAA tournament right now?
You know, I was just thinking about that this morning. Like, wow, we got some Michiganders down here in Tennessee playing. But I think it's, you know, really good, obviously, for Michigan, but for us as a whole, just to be able to be on the biggest stage of college women's basketball, like Rakia said, and being able to represent Michigan.
Yeah, same.
We have a question from Zoom, Gabriella.
Gabriella Lewis, the next. I was just hoping y'all could speak on your confidence that has progressed over the season, but particularly getting such a dominant win yesterday with, you know, such a margin.
I'll go. Yeah, you know, yesterday was definitely a confidence booster for sure, but we knew that we had to come out and dominate. That was our game, and we needed that momentum to keep us rolling through March. But also our confidence, just kind of going back to what I just said about our preseason schedule. I mean, it was tough, but I feel like everything that we went through, that's why we're still playing in March, and that's why we were so dominant yesterday.
Tess, your younger sister got in the game yesterday, scored some points. Both Jordans were talking about how she, you know, works so hard in practice. She does that every day in practice. You've seen it your whole life. What did that moment mean to you to get to see her go out there and, you know, not just score free throws, but to hit that pull-up jumper?
Yeah, you know, that's why you play the game of basketball. Just seeing all the work that Edie has put in, growing up, just competing in the driveway and just seeing it all come to the biggest stage of women's basketball. It was awesome. Seeing the teammates and the team rally around her, it's really special.
Teresa Walker, the Associated Press for the Michiganders. How familiar are you at all with Toledo? And if a team has won 17 straight, does that just kind of get your attention immediately?
I've played Toledo in my career quite a few times, so I'm pretty familiar with them. They're always, you know, a good team, play really hard, have great players. But with the 17 straight wins, it does catch your attention because obviously that they're on a roll. But I know that if we do the things that we do well and handle business on the defensive end, that we'll be fine.
Any other questions?
This team's offense is rolling right now. They put up 80 points against Iowa State. Quenisha Lockett's a huge, you know, energy player for them. What do you feel like is the biggest key for you guys, just to slowing them down and to have another defensive performance like yesterday?
I think coming out and setting the tone from the beginning like we did yesterday. I think that we can guard anybody in the country. So I really just think that coming out, setting that tone, sitting down, all 5 of us at a time, you know, and playing our defense, I think that that's what, you know, is going to help us.
We'll go back to Gabriella.
I know you all get this one a lot, and this is for any of you, but, considering how challenging this season has been with some losses there, what would it mean getting to the Sweet 16?
I think it would be really special. You come to the University of Tennessee and you're supposed to get to the Sweet 16. You're supposed to be in those games. But just being able to compete with basically all four of the number one teams, and the list keeps going, it's just, I don't know, we're just really prepared, I feel like, and it's just giving us that boost of confidence that we can compete with anyone. We're a whole different team than we were in the 1st of November.
This is for all three of you. It looked like you were wearing low tops coming in. Is that your preference as a shoe? So yes, this is an outside of the box kind of question. Are you a low top person? Have you switched in your career from high tops? And what is it that you like about going with the low tops? Does it help you play better? What's the key?
I'm a low top girl for sure. I just love the look of the low tops. I just think it look cuter.
Growing up, I was high tops. My parents wouldn't let me wear low tops. It's no ankle support and all of this. I had to wear ankle braces with the high tops. So, getting to college, I got to express my freedom a little bit and go to the low tops.
Yeah, I was the exact same person as JoJo growing up.
Rukia, from the start of the year, what would you say has been the biggest area that has made you more comfortable playing on this team specifically?
I would just have to say, finding my spots and developing confidence in my jumper. Just having the teammates that I have that continue to, support me and, give me the ball in my spots. It just makes me want to, work hard for them. It makes me want to make that shot for them. If I miss a shot, JoJo give me a great pass, or Tess give me a great pass, I'll be like, dang, I let them down. Let me make the next one. So just them, always encouraging me. That just helped me have even more confidence in myself to knock those shots down and finish plays.
Anything else? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to Knoxville. Pre-game press conferences for Tennessee here before the second round matchup with Toledo with Coach Kelly Harper. Coach, go ahead and start us off with your thoughts about Toledo and a second round matchup on Monday night.
Yeah. First off, I think we're playing a team that could have easily had a different number in front of their name, a lower number. This is a really talented basketball team, experienced team. Who's rolling. They're playing some really good basketball. They're confident. They have big wins on the season, and they've done what they needed to do in their league. So very talented team. They're disciplined. They're tough. They obviously can spread you out with their three-point shooters. They've got some folks that can score in the paint, and that's off the pass and the drive. So they're very talented, and then very smart, very intelligent basketball team on the defensive end, where they might not have the size as some opponents. They're able to make up for that with how they play. So we know this is a very good basketball team. We're in for a big battle.
Questions?
Teresa Walker, the Associated Press. Kelly, how much, if at all, do you mention last year's second round game? You also another 12 seed, and that was a 3-point win that you guys had to kind of gut out to get to the Sweet 16. Do you mention it, or do you just focus on the fact that of what Toledo's got and how dangerous they are with their 17-game win streak?
Yeah, this is probably one of those times we won't talk about last year. Our team remembers it, but you know, we use experiences a lot throughout the season. But I think at this point, it's just locking in on who we are now and what we need to do. You know, I think our players have kept their eyes on the NCAA tournament, both men's and women's. They see upsets, they see the challenge. They know that you get to this point, you're playing somebody good. And it doesn't matter what the seed number is, you're playing somebody good. If there are 32 teams left, I can guarantee you there's 32 really good teams in the country.
Or Hall, the Knox News Sentinel. Kelly, I want to ask you about Kaya Wynn, because she's played in so many games for you guys in short spurts for, you know, go get offensive board, go play defense really quick for me. Can you just talk about her role and how special she's been as a culture piece as well?
Yes, Kaya Wynn is, she's one of those people that in life that whatever she does, she's going to be successful. And she has a big heart. She's fun to be around, kind of the life of the party kind of person. You know, and in her career thus far, she hasn't had big minutes. And I'm telling you, she's had a great attitude. She's had a great work ethic despite that. And I have a lot of respect for someone like that. I have a lot of respect for Kaya. When she goes in the game, obviously she brings athleticism. She's aggressive. She can get to the basket, and she can, I tell you, I think every time we put her in there, she'll go get an offensive board, and that's fun to see.
Kyle Rowland, Toledo Blade. Just curious, as you were out there yesterday watching the Toledo-Iowa State game, just your thoughts on Quenisha Lockett and what else you've seen of her on film preparing?
Yeah, obviously, you're not Player of the Year. You don't happen into Player of the Year, right? She's that talented, and you know, obviously, her speed stood out yesterday. What makes her effective? She can shoot and put the ball on the floor. You can't back off of her. You can't get up on her tight. So she's very difficult to guard. I'm impressed with how hard she cuts, how hard she runs through her offense, how she runs through their offense, and then how hard she plays. You know, she'll use that. Some kids are fast. She's fast and plays hard. You know, so she'll go get an offensive board. She'll track down loose balls. She was really impressive yesterday, but I don't think yesterday was an anomaly. I think that's who she is. I think she's that talented, and obviously a handful for anybody that's guarding her.
And then just aside from the fact that, I mean, Toledo's a solid team, how dangerous is an opponent when, I mean, they've won 29 games this year. They're on a 17-game win streak. They're coming off this upset. I don't know. Does that make it dangerous just in terms of, like, the confidence they're playing with?
Yeah, I think when teams are playing with momentum, that's a big deal in March. You see it right now in on both sides of the men's and women's brackets. I mean, you know, you get on a roll and you can keep going. I mean, you can look historically and see teams that have done that. So they're one of those teams that they feel good about what they're doing, and honestly, they should. I mean, they've been that good. And you know, I think the other thing that you know, when I look at, they had some tight wins late, and they figured it out. And to me, that's also a big confidence booster down the stretch. You know, they get in those close games. They know they have experience pulling those out.
Frank DeLuca, WBIR. To get every one of your players in, and not only that, but see them all score in the NCAA tournament, what do you think that does for a team?
Oh, that was huge. I was so excited. You know, obviously, we take for granted being in the NCAA tournament, I think, at times. And, you know, there are a lot of talented players that never have an opportunity to play in this tournament. And I'm excited that all of our players not only played, they just scored. And that's a big deal. That is a big deal. And, you know, I don't take that lightly. But, coming into practice today, I mean, it was all smiles. They're excited. You know, there's great team chemistry and camaraderie when everybody gets to go in, and it wasn't just everybody scored. They played well. Everybody that went in the game played well yesterday, and that's a good feeling for an entire team.
Kelly, if you guys advance to Sweet 16, it'll be the first time Tennessee went to back-to-back Sweet 16 since 15 and 16. I know you have to finish the game, obviously, but what would that say to you as a coach about just what you've established here and how positive that would be for you?
I think it'd be a huge step, you know, to get back there. It's so funny. I'm not forgetting. My mind hasn't been dwelling on what if the win. You know, obviously we're so locked into the moment, but you know, it would be a big deal. It really would, and you know, I think it would mean a lot to our team and to our staff to be able to watch our team make that next step.
Kelly, Jordan is 3 assists away from matching your career total.
Oh.
Yes. Is that, as a coach, do you want to see your player maybe pass you? Or is there maybe just a little bit, the competitor as a former player, it's like, oh, if she gets to 2, maybe I should just sit her down.
Sub her out.
Is that just how is that as a former player and now her coach?
Man, that's funny. I'm gonna take a lot of heat on this one from her. I didn't know that. No, 100%. Obviously, I want her to do great. I want her to have 3 assists in the first quarter. You know, I want her to be that player for us. I had a little bragging rights up until that point. So hopefully she can get to that and surpass it by a lot. You know, she and I have a really good relationship, so we'll probably go back and forth on this one for a bit.
We have a question on Zoom from Gabriella. Gabriella, go ahead.
Gabriella Lewis, the next. Coach Tess just said, you know, playing for Tennessee, you're supposed to make the Sweet 16, but knowing what the season has been, some challenges, some losses, you know, even with that program record, what would it mean to make the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it'd be very satisfying for our team. I think, you know, I think it would be rewarding. They have really continued to buy in all season long, whether we were winning or losing, whether it was November or February. They've done a really good job of buying in and really working hard each and every day. They never lost their confidence, so it's almost a reward for what they were able to withstand and what they were able to do.
I'm going to kind of follow up on that. You were, as a player, were part of a team that had the double-digit loss season and went on to win a title. Is that maybe the biggest lesson that you have that you can offer this team, is that it is the improvement that they make through the season that can make what happens in March matter? Yeah,
I think every team has a different story, you know, and I think you can look at different teams and get inspiration from different teams. And you know, obviously, I was a part of 3 very different national championships, one with 10 losses, one was undefeated season, you know, and I think you can draw from all those experiences. And what our players have continued to do is continue to have confidence, continue to believe in what this group can do.
We've seen the way this team has grown on the court and the way they've performed over the course of the season. How have you seen this team grow emotionally?
I think we have. I think we've grown with our maturity on the court. I think our team has stayed pretty even keeled the last couple months. Big wins, tough losses. I think they've stayed pretty even, and I think that's a testament to that maturity. I think the experiences that they've had all year has really helped them grow. And, you know, I think just battle through adversity, any kind of adversity you have, I don't know if it changes you or challenges you, maybe both at times. And I think that's happened to us. I think our players they have found a way to play through tough times I think a lot of that's with their emotion as well.
Any other questions?
I want to answer the one about the shoes. High tops. I'm a high top girl.
Well, was it because to help protect the ankles, or?
Listen, they don't make high tops anymore. Not the 90s high tops. They don't make 90s high tops anymore. So when I pull out a pair of high tops, when I played scrimmage again, played with our players not too long ago, and I put on some high tops and played. It's a very loose term, okay? And they were making fun of my shoes because they were going way over the ankles, and oh, heaven forbid, these days you wear anything that hits your ankles. So they like the low tops, but even when they pull out a high top, it's not the same. It's just different. So
What's the difference? Is it?
their comfort. They just don't like it. They don't like the shoes over their ankles. And it's not just us. I mean, you really it is hard to find a shoe that looks like it looked in the 90s.
Do they come up not as high on the
They don't come up as high on the ankle. So even high tops, what I would have considered growing up would have been a 3/4. Yeah, it's very different.
Thank you for chiming in.
Yeah, thanks for including me. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.